Hey, how you doing? This is John, and welcome to John's Long Box. How you doing? I'm here with Peter Gilmore. How's it going?
Oh, good. Oh, good. You just caught me tweeting out the stream.
Oh, okay, good.
Sorry, posting out the stream. Xing out the stream? Whatever. Tweet.
I like Elon Musk, but it's still Twitter, and it's still a tweet. It was perfect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't change McDonald's to Phil's Burger Shack.
Exactly. Dumb idea. Dumb idea.
Established. You don't.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know how many rock and roll bands regret the names of their bands, but they're stuck with it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like getting a tattoo when you're 16.
Yeah.
I did that.
I always joke around. Let's have coffee together. There you go.
Yeah.
I always joked around that I went to college in the 90s and didn't get a tattoo. I want to get into the circus as the untattooed man.
I had one when I was 16. I was in a band. We were called the Munsters. So I had what I thought was going to be Herman Munster on my shoulder. That's what I thought. Well, Frankenstein, Herman, whatever. Then I found out later that the tattooist had a nickname locally. He was nicknamed Gary the Butcher. So I've got the most deformed Frankenstein monster on my shoulder.
God.
And for some reason he's got a cigarette and his hair, I think it was supposed to be the stitches across his head. It kind of looks like he's got a cake sort of melting down his head. It's awful. And people say, why didn't you have it covered up? And it's like, every time I see that, it reminds me, don't get another tattoo.
Oh my God. I remember I actually called up the tattooist, made an appointment, went there, got in the chair. I was going to get the black flag bars right over.
Oh, yeah.
The black flag. I was going to get that. And he goes, who are you again? I was like, yeah, I'm John. I'm here. And he goes, oh. And he had a dirty Band-Aid holding up an index card that he pulled off.
Oh.
And I just went, I'm going to get something in my car. Got in the car and drove away. That was the closest.
Good move. Yeah, I mean, when I got mine, the rest of the band went to get them as well, and they like one had a musical note, and I think someone had a shark, which kind of looked like a deformed goldfish when it was done. It was a mess.
You all went to Gary the Butcher?
Yeah, all four of us went to and we all got just.
Did you write a song called Gary the Butcher?
We should have done.
Right,
we should have done.
That was the universe telling you that this was your hit, and you didn't write it. You could have been on a,
Well, we asked around because back in the day we were all little punks, all into the punk music and stuff. So we asked around. People said, "Oh yeah, go to Gary." The bastards.
You got punked. You got punked, all right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now I assume because if they saw your tattoo and then sat down, the first guy, I don't blame. You know what I mean? But the second guy and the third guy and the fourth guy, it's like.
Well, you'd come out and it'd be like, I mean, nowadays they kind of put like saran wrap stuff over it and all that kind of stuff. But back then it was like a piece of gauze, so you couldn't see.
Oh, I got.
And they'd always say, leave it on for a while, and then we all got out and we were in the pub later, and we were like, go on, let's look then. And oh my God, we were the laughing stock of the pub.
Well, what did you play in your band?
That band I was singer and bass.
You do have kind of a Lemmy vibe going on there, so I could see that.
Lemmy's a local boy. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We've got a statue of Lemmy up, and yeah, he's from 10 minutes away from here, maybe something like that.
Okay.
Absolute legend.
I was told my my audio is low. Let's check my audio.
It might be mine, just really loud.
Yeah, well, you're very loud. How's that? I adjusted that. Marcus, let me know if that sounds better. I got one Lemmy story. I went to go see Motorhead at a local venue out in Long Island, and me and my friend Jimmy drove out there. We took Jimmy's father's station wagon. We were like 17 years old or something like that. We drive out there, going nuts, slam dancing, jumping around. Yeah. And then the show's over. We go to the car. Jimmy's like, I don't have the car keys. Like, oh man, where's the car keys? So we knock on. Can we come in? We can't find the car. They're like, yeah, come on in. They're sweeping up, so we're looking through garbage and everything like that. We can't find the car keys. So we're like, oh God, we know what this means. We got to call Jimmy's sister. Jimmy's sister was like the worst possible thing. We're like, oh, if it was a movie, it would have been like, dun, dun, dun. So now we're waiting for Jimmy's sister to come pick with the spare car keys, 4:00 in the morning. And the door opens and Lemmy comes walking out, and I'm like, it's Lemmy. Oh my God, it's Lemmy. And Jimmy's just sitting there like, my sister's Jean's gonna kill us. By the way, Jean's a cop now, so that just shows you.
Right. Okay.
So I'm like, and Lemmy's like, well, what? Show's over. I can't do the accent, but he's like, show's over. What's going on? And Jimmy's like, well, I can't. He doesn't even realize he's talking to Lemmy. He's like, we jumping around and I lost my keys. My sister's gonna come. My sister's gonna kill us. Oh my God! I wish my father was gonna come. My father would be better than my sister. Oh my God! And Lemmy's just like, oh man. He pulls out a sandwich out from his vest. So he's got a vest on, and then it's just his shirt and chest.
Yeah.
Pulls out a sandwich. He goes, cheese sandwich, eh? And Jimmy just starts eating it, and I'm like, don't eat that. Like, I can't say that in front of Lemmy. Like, don't eat that. No. So Lemmy walks away. I'm like, don't eat that. That was on his skin. That was in his vest. Like, you get Lemmy's all over your face. Jimmy's like,
well, I mean, if it's from Lemmy, it probably got bourbon, cocaine, God knows what else in there.
But there's the Lemmy story. He was nice. He couldn't give us the keys, but a cheese sandwich in a time. So of course that became like we would get drunk and be like, Lemmy shows up and gives everybody like the starving kids cheese sandwiches. Helps.
Yeah, he's a benevolent.
Well,
idiot.
I heard that people that he lived in like a small apartment in LA on the Sunset Strip, and they said like when he died, people didn't know that he was worth like $25 million, and he just lived like a regular guy. He would have parties, invite people up. He was just like a regular local musician rather than an international superstar. I've always had a song for Lemmy.
He didn't really care. He was just he's from here, from Stoke-on-Trent. So we're all just, we don't care. We don't care.
Where is that? I don't know exactly.
Stoke-on-Trent is pretty much smack bang in the middle of the country.
Okay.
Kind of. Just a little bit north of centre. So because we're north of centre, we call ourselves northern. Because we have to, because we're not southern. Don't want to be a southerner.
Lemmy used to do trauma movie cameos. A specific one was a bottle of Jack and a bag of Doritos. Well, you got to have your priorities.
Yeah.
It was funny on that particular show. Some girl got up on somebody's shoulders, like they always do, and she opened up her shirt and flashed. And Lemmy just goes, "You don't get to see that too often anymore."
True. Don't get to see it anymore at all. I think you'd be arrested if you did it now.
I mean, we were 17, so geez, that was 30 years ago. You think Lemmy was seeing a lot of those back then?
Yeah. I think we're the same age.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Ace of Spades is one of the best. I love Motorhead. Matter of fact, I went through a severe Motorhead phase in my 30s, where when I was still dating around, and I was just like, if the girl has to know Motorhead, she doesn't have to like Motorhead. She just has to know who Motorhead is. If she's like, I never heard of Motorhead, that's a red flag for me.
I kind of think that surely everybody knows who Motorhead are. Surely. They gotta do. It's like bands like AC/DC, everyone knows who they are. There's just certain bands.
I'm an electrician. We have to know AC/DC. It used to be somebody would bring the construction industry so tame. They asked us if they open up the gang boxes and there's pictures of naked girls anymore. I haven't seen that in 20 years. It used to be you went to work, somebody had a big DeWalt boombox, and boom, you hit the button, and AC/DC. It was AC/DC, all day long, and I freaking love it. Just made now you can't listen to anything. But you can have 6,000 decibel machines going out. But not this freaking drill. You know what I mean? But anyway, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm
wide open. You're a punk rock guy, so this is really cool. I was a teenage punk. me and my friend started a band. You know, it was funny because we just played and it was so much fun. But then once we started to get good, we started to fight.
Yeah. Oh, it's always the case. Always the case. Because usually someone gets a bit of an ego, or someone thinks someone isn't doing as well as the rest, or we're carrying this person, or.
But I used to go to CBGBs all the time and see all the bands, and it was a lot of fun. Just as I'm into comic books, I was into discovering the new band, and I had to find the band first. When somebody said they liked the band, I had to pull out a 45 to prove that I discovered them 3 weeks before you did.
Yeah, we used to get collecting and sharing sort of bootleg cassettes of recordings of gigs like live, and the audio was fucking awful. The audio was terrible, but
it wasn't about listening; it was about collecting it.
Yeah, exactly. It was having it, and you could listen to it, and you could just about maybe hear a tiny bit of vocal through the distorted bass or whatever, or it would just sound like as soon as the guitar kicked in, it'd just like distort the whole, But it was fantastic,
When I moved into this house, I finally. I got stereo equipment, and all my records and CDs and 45s have been in storage since 1993. So that just shows you how long I've been without a record. So I got all my records. I got a turntable, and I've been playing records and stuff. So my wife was like, "Oh, look at all these vinyl records. I haven't seen vinyl in so long." So she sits down and starts pulling out records. Like, there's an Australian band, the Dicks.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of like the Dwarves. If you know anything from the Dwarves, the Seattle band that I can't even
know of them.
I can't even repeat any of the titles of their records. She was like, "Do you have anything good? Like, do you have anything that's not?"
Do you have anything good? How dare you?
It was just like all punk rock records, and then I went to my girlfriend from when I was 17 and 18 years old. She called me up. She knows I'm an electrician. Can you fix this light? So I was like, yeah, I'll come save her. Her daughter died. She's got divorced. I'm not going to charge her. I'm going to go fix this light.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, when people aren't electricians, what's an easy job to them? I was like, you got to understand. I'm not crawling through your garage. I got to crawl down into this panel. Like, this is some serious work. And I don't have the tools to. This would cost me $1,000 in tools. I thought I was just changing a light fixture. Mm-hmm. So I called up one of my buddies who loves to do this stuff, and he's like, he's going to charge you because this is a real job. But that's besides the point. So she's like, I got to pay you something. I'm like, you don't have to pay me. I didn't do anything. Well, you introduced me to him. She goes, here. I know you like records because I posted on Facebook. I got her. So she gives me a milk crate full of vinyl records, cool. And I'm looking through them. These are my records. You took them when we were dating. These are all my missing records. This is where my Clash and my Big Audio Dynamite. I was like, oh my god. She's like, well, I feel bad. So she gave me like 2 crates of records, all of her stuff, which was like Culture Club and
well, yeah. I mean, to be fair, Culture Club is still better than a lot of the crap now.
Yes, that's because that's what my wife
did. Stuff back then that we hated is now, a magnum opus compared to some of the trash.
I know. I never liked The Cure. There was just a band I never liked. Now when they come on the radio, I'm like, oh my god, The Cure's on real music.
There was back in the day, there was maybe a couple of tracks I liked by them. I wasn't a huge fan, but yeah, now I can listen to it all day.
Yeah, we used to trade tapes, like Marcus said. Yeah, we used to make tapes for each other. Yeah, I kind of miss that. We used to trade tape. My coworker had a radio station copy of the Beatles' White Album. My friend Joanne worked in a radio station, and she used to invite us up. And unbeknownst to her, we were like stealing records. Get these out of here! Don't let Joanne know. Don't let Joanne know. You really want? So. But now you're not a punk rocker anymore. You're a big time comic book artist, right?
Big time. Yeah. I'm still a punk rocker, but not so much. I'm too old for the slamming and the pogoing and the.
Do you still listen? Do you still listen to some good punk?
All the time. Yeah. All the time. Time.
What is some? Very rarely do I get old school punkers, so this is great. What are some of your favorite punk bands?
Oh, good lord. I listened to everything from. I mean, I don't know if you'd know them. The Rosillos,
Yes,
the Dickies,
the Dickies,
Buzzcocks.
the Incredible
Yeah,
Shrink. The Buzzcocks are one of my favorite bands. I was listening to the Buzzcocks today. Probably my favorite song of all time is a. Now I'm blanking on the. Am I shamming a sham? I don't mind. I don't mind. That's it. I don't mind. That's
I
what
don't mind. Yeah,
I just love that
yeah.
song. I got the CDs. I went through every phase of the Buzzcocks. I got all their albums. Then I got all the CDs.
Hmm.
You know.
And then I mean, I kind of 50-50 on sort of old punk stuff, old like rock, proper rock, the metal, metal rock, Motorhead, things like that.
Motorhead.
And then I'm kind of into. Do you know the Cramps?
Oh yeah, I love the Cramps.
Cramps are probably my favorite all-time band ever.
Oh really?
Yeah.
To
Sort
the
of got
point. To the point when that Wednesday Addams TV show came out and Google Muck got popular, I was pissed off. I was like, you people can't like this song.
Yeah.
The Cramps are mine. Like I was
Exactly.
just talking yesterday about this comic book characters that are mine. I'm like, no.
It was. I mean, I kind of liked that it was all over social media. The Cramps, which it was okay, but then you look at the people that are like listening to it and like they don't understand.
Well, yeah.
They don't understand. I mean, the Cramps played in the Napa Valley insane asylum. They did a gig in there. It's fantastic. It's on YouTube, by the way. It's black and white. It's grainy, and they're all real psychopaths wandering around and like trying to smash stuff. And it's fantastic.
They play naked, and their music would be untuned and stuff. They would really crazy band. And the song Google Muck, everybody's singing it because it's on. I'm like, this song is about a guy trying to go out and find a woman that he could.
It's about a pervert.
Moral sex on, that's what he is. He's a submissive that likes to be told to go down on.
Yeah.
That's what the song's about.
Well, when the sun goes down and the moon comes up.
Are you into rockabilly at all?
Yeah, rockabilly, psychobilly, punk. Oh, yeah, all of it.
I every once in a while I talk on Twitter about what phase of music about. I just went through a big Patti Smith phase for about 2 weeks. I go through phases where I just listen to bands over, and I rediscovered Patti Smith, and I forgot that those albums came out like in the 70s and 80s that she had to even know about. So I got all excited. I ordered some Patti Smith records that I didn't even know about. I just got it today. I got to open it up.
I mean, we were talking about Motorhead and Lemmy. Have you heard Headcat?
Headcat?
Headcat is half Motorhead, half the Stray Cats, and they used to gig together all the time. There's 2 albums, I think.
Oh my god! I loved the Stray Cats to the point. My wife and I went every year to see Brian Setzler's Christmas Orchestra right over here, but it stopped during COVID. Oh my Headcat!
Headcat, yeah.
Looking that up.
It's Lemmy on bass and vocals, and then the rest is the Stray Cats. They're great, really good. Just loads of old rock and roll tunes and rockabilly tunes, but with Lemmy's voice over them. It's an acquired taste, maybe. I don't know.
My friend Jimmy, the same one that when we saw Motorhead, we were all in his wedding party and all in our tuxedos, and he was just like, we're listening to Ace of Spades in the limo on the way to the church. So it was funny when the limo pulled up, the door opened, and
normal. That's normal behavior. Yeah. When I was at college, a guy I knew, he bought a really, I can't remember what car it was now. It was crappy, awful, but he kind of weaseled himself away for about 3 months, and then he came. He suddenly reappeared on the scene, and he put a body kit on it. And the body kit was the Batmobile. So we'd be driving around. We were only 17, 18 years old, driving around with the top down in this Batmobile, listening to like Motorhead and like old rockabilly stuff. And that
awesome.
was a good summer. That was a good summer.
See,
unfortunately, the body kit was just fiberglass, so it kind of ended up getting trashed because we used to go to gigs in it, and then people would like want photos with it, and they'd try and sit on it, and then someone sits on a fiberglass body.
That is pretty cool. That is pretty cool.
Fun stuff.
So I find that creative people tend to have more than one talent. Like obviously you play musicians. Obviously you play instruments.
Yeah.
this, and you could also draw.
Mm-hmm.
Bring this over to comics. So right now, obviously, you have Super Dead that's on
Super
Indiegogo
Dead.
right now.
Super Dead issue 2, yeah, which is if anyone's read Super Dead 1,
Yeah, I did.
the artwork is just so much better. It's insane. It's just
you
to the point where I want to redraw book 1.
I will say this: your art has, and you brought it up, so I don't feel like I'm insulting you. Your artwork has gotten better. It's like you leveled up.
It's getting to hang around with and talk to people like Dale Keown, and Plus, I mean, working with Mandy, everyone thinks she's a lovely Southern belle, and she's such a polite and nice. She's evil. She makes you work. She makes you work. She makes you work. She makes you get better. And if you don't, she says horrible things about your artwork. There's nothing quite so cutting as a comment from a Southern lady.
She was on my channel, and we ended up talking for over an hour about role playing games. We didn't even get into comics. She knows her shit. I was really impressed.
I
didn't really know Mandy that well at that point. I just invited because people like, you should invite Mandy Summers on. She's at the comics. So I was like, okay. I ordered the comics so I would have something to talk about. I didn't know her really, and she came on and just floored me. She's charming and she knew her crap. You know what I mean? So I was really impressed. And then she started her channel and promoted my comics. So
she's actually a real nerd. Not like these pretty girls who.
Well, that's what I was
the fake. She's no fake geek girl. She's pretty and she knows video games. She knows movies. Comics. She's a massive nerd. Nerd.
When we talked about Dungeons and Dragons, she knew the inside and out. She knew like Thaco. She knew all of these little silly things. Love the heater. Is this a joke I don't get? I guess it's a joke I don't get. I heard Pete with CT Horror on Twitter say it ain't so.
No, that's not me. That account followed me today, so I don't know. No, that's not me.
Oh, okay.
I've got one account on Twitter.
I had two. One that was for comic books, and then one was just me. And so the one that I use now is my original Twitter account, and the one that I made for comic, I accidentally told somebody what I would do if climate protesters stopped me in traffic, and they won't let me back. And Wolf and Bear, it's good to see new names.
Actually, I tell a lie. I do have another account, but I only that's for looking at comic stuff, because most of the comic industry have got me blocked.
Oh, a heater is a cigarette.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that. It's Smokers Week here on John's Long Box. Yesterday I had Kelsey Shannon, and it reviewed a cloud of smoke.
Yeah. I'm not as bad as Kelsey. Not as bad for smoking. Yeah.
So we were talking about you're Mandy's basically her exclusive artist on all of the Stuntman comics.
No, someone else drew Gem Shock.
Oh, okay. I thought you were drawing Gem Shock also.
No, someone else drew Gem Shock, and then Dale did the last few pages of Gem Shock, but everything else has been me. Yeah.
But you
and Gem Shock's in the new Super Dead as well, and
you drew Super Dead, and you drew the Jack the Ripper Vampire Hunter.
Jack the Ripper drew. We did Wart the Wizard, which is the kind of all ages.
Yes.
Kind of based on old RPG video games and tabletop games and stuff, with a little bit of, I don't know if you know Terry Pratchett.
Yes.
Terry Pratchett. Yeah. So that kind of humor and a bit of Monty Python style humor, and a lot of digs at people who take, like clans and stuff in games, who take all that really seriously. So there's a lot of little pokes at those kind of people, but it's fun. Yeah, it's an all ages book. It's one of those all ages things where kids will love it, kids will get it, but then there's jokes in there that'll go over the kids' heads.
Yeah, Mandy was
adults will be like,
She was saying, she goes, just like Tolkien, it started with me telling the kids stories.
Yeah.
I was like, when I look at you, I see a lot of resemblances to Tolkien. Yeah.
Yeah, just like just like
It's just like Tolkien.
Tolkien. You see, another local legend.
Oh yeah, he's from your area too.
He's not from here, but he did all his military training here,
Okay.
and his son lived here. So the last few years of Tolkien's life was spent sort of. His son's a priest, so he came.
Catholic.
Yeah, he came to stay with his son. He used to get the train from, I can't remember where he lived, from there to Stoke-on-Trent, and then he'd cycle up this huge hill to his son's house. We've got like Tolkien Way and all these streets and stuff named after things from Lord of the Rings.
Are you a Tolkien fan?
Yeah, oh, massive, yeah.
Okay,
Since I was maybe, I think we got read The Hobbit at school when I was probably 6 or 7.
Oh, wow.
You know, and ever since that, yeah, we had a teacher he basically looked like an egg with a massive beard. He looked like a dwarf, you know, and he lived on a like farm, little kind of farm thing in the middle of nowhere, and kept chickens and invented things, and he was a crazy weird guy.
If you ask an American to describe like an English professor, that's what you just described. He's this bearded, eccentric guy who lives on a farm and he invents things and he goes to class and tells it's just the most quaint English stereotype possible in the best sense.
Mm-hmm. His name was Mr. Beeman, but we used to call him Mr. Beardman, obviously. Which he loved. He was a nice guy. He used to take us on like days out to different places. It'd all be really strange places that no one else would take you to. You know, he'd take us to like castles and.
Oh, that is awesome.
All the other teachers would take us to a factory that makes something or whatever.
That is awesome. That is so cool.
But yeah, he used to take us to really cool stuff. He was I guess a big influence on me. Didn't realise, but yeah, I think he might have been.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if I had any. I had a high school teachers that one of the teachers he just said, put away your notebooks. I'm going to tell you a story, and that story is called history. And he just sat on his desk and he just told like American history and European history as if it was and I'll never forget. I could still give a lecture on the French Revolution from this guy's storytelling. It was and then the next year I had another teacher who was just like, on this date this happened, on this date this happened. It just took out all the charm. History. It just reduced it to numbers.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of similar to stuff like YouTube, and doing live streams. You get some people that like the comic promotion streams. Some of them are just like, here's a book, these are the tiers, that's your book, right?
Yeah.
Then you get people who entertain, and some people don't like that. Some people think it's taken away from them. It's like, well, speak up more.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I went on Mandy and Shane. They had they called a shill stream, but before
Pimp My Comic, was it?
Yeah, Pimp My Comic. That's it. And Dale showed up. I got like a little starstruck when Dale showed up. I was like, he was really nice.
Dale's a lovely man.
Dale was so cool. So cool to talk to a legend like that. But they said, this isn't going to be a 40-minute infomercial for your comic. Nobody wants to watch it. You got to be entertaining. I'll pat myself on the back. I think I'm easy to talk to. I was joking around. Clint Holinsky, who does that.
Yeah.
He was. Me and him were riffing to the point. Next day he was on my channel. We were laughing and joking and stuff. But other people just sat there, waited their turn.
Yeah, Clint's cool. But I mean, Clint's worked with Mandy as well before, and yeah, I've been on many streams with Clint.
But I feel bad for some guys because they say like I write and draw and sit by myself. I'm not good with people. If I was good with people, I wouldn't be a comic book artist. It's a solo activity. So I feel bad for some people. I like talking to people, but I'm not an artist either.
Yeah, I mean, luckily I I think the first live stream I was on was with Umbrella Guy, with Tug.
Okay.
Because that was the first book I did, was with him. So that was kind of a baptism of fire. Oh my God, the hate I got for associating with Umbrella Guy. Oh, how dare you? He's a racist bigot, blah, 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 blah. You're all horrible.
So
Whatever.
did you ever do mainstream comics? Because I discovered your art in Vampire Hunter.
Oh,
And
right, yeah.
and all of Andy's books, that was my favorite art. So I was like, oh wow. And then I got to admit, I saw that Dragon Rider girl, and I was like, this guy. This is
Yeah.
I was like, can I have this? Can I have? I was just being a jerk.
Yeah. Oh no, that sold. That sold pretty quickly. And the other one, the one you've got for the thumbnail, the Swamp Thing, straight away, gone.
That's
So
awesome.
It's just trying to figure out what people want. What people want. It's like, right, so monsters, chicks with big boobs.
Yeah, well, apparently you didn't like the chicks with big boobs because they deleted my whole stream that I set up, and I had to restart it again.
I mean, they were naked boobies, so
those are the best kind of boobies, in my opinion.
Set the boobies free. Always set the boobies free. And if the boobies are covered up, draw some nipple in there. That's fine.
It's a superhero show.
Show exactly.
Show them straining against some.
Yeah.
Straining to be liberated.
I mean, that's one thing I've never really got about sort of like superheroes, female superheroes, like the way they're drawn. If the costume was just coloured flesh coloured, that'd be naked. Do you know what I mean? There's no difference. There's absolutely no difference. It's like you're basically drawing a naked woman and then colouring her. But because it's flesh coloured, and people getting bent out of shape over artwork.
Yeah.
I keep getting shadow banned on Twitter for drawing boobs, but it is what it is.
Some of the earliest graffiti, the earliest art, found in caves in France are boobs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We are what we are. And if we weren't like this, there wouldn't be 9 billion of us, 12 billion of us running around, right? It's
exactly.
Like my comic is going to be pretty wholesome, but I got I got this comic set in a strip club that I got from Kickstarter. It's excellent.
Mm-hmm.
It's not what I want to do for my particular comic, but that's one thing I love about comics. There's Western, like there should be. There's Westerns. There should be booby comics. There should be horror comics. There should be monster comics. There should be superhero comics.
I mean,
that American comics were just superheroes for so long.
Yeah. I mean, with like nudity and stuff in comics, there's gratuitous, and then there's if it fits with the story. My thinking is, if it fits with the story, then be a bit more gratuitous. If you're going to do it, do it. Which, I mean, you've read the first Jack the Ripper book, so yeah.
Yeah.
Look, they were vampire whores. They're going to be boobs.
Have vampires and not have nudity, you're not doing vampires right.
Exactly. And I'm old school horror,
I have a vampire story that I have written, but I don't want to do it yet. Because I want to do one campaign at a time. I want to commit to my superhero story. But if I make it extra money and if fans, are accepting it, I have a vampire story that my friend read the script and said it had the most disturbing sex scene ever. He goes in the history of movies, plays, books, comics, whatever. He goes, please, for the love of God, do not publish this story. And I said, that was the best endorsement to publish this story.
Yeah, that's it. That's the log line on when you're advertising the campaign. Just in quotes, please do not publish this story.
my PhD psychologist friend said, please do not publish this story.
Yeah. Redacted PhD. Yeah, there you go.
So I asked you, and then we get sidetracked because talking to you is so much fun. Have you ever done mainstream work?
Tried to get it. It was kind of when I was growing up, it was kind of hard to do from the UK because we didn't really have cons and stuff, so you couldn't go along and take your work to someone, so you'd have to submit it. I submitted to 2000 AD a bunch of times, but never heard anything back, which, I mean, with hindsight, I probably wasn't good enough back then, but you've got to try. And then I kind of gave up on the idea for a while, and I've worked in video games and corporate art and advertising and all that kind of stuff. And then when I started seeing all the weird crap that Marvel and DC were doing with the characters, like this is back in, I don't know, maybe 2016, 2017, when they first started screwing with stuff, gender swapping things and all that kind of crap, and just
I got out of Marvel and DC in 2015. Like, as I've been collecting the comics since I was 6 years old, and it was physically painful. I'm like, what do you do? I mean, this has been part of my life for so long, and now what do I do? And then Comicsgate and all of these other people,
Well, this is it, yeah. I mean, I was kind of incensed by a lot of the stuff I was seeing, and then I discovered Comicsgate, which was, I mean, kind of, I thought it had been around for ages at the time, but it had only been maybe going about, as Comicsgate, it had probably only been in existence for a few months. But,
Yeah.
So I started drawing comics again, started drawing my own, and then I got approached by, I don't know if you know Nasser Rabadi.
Okay, yeah.
He used to just hit people up all the time. Anyone who had, a bit of artistic talent, he'd hit them up and try and do a book. So we did start doing a book together. But then he went crazy, and so I think
I haven't heard that name in a long time.
So I think I did like 22 pages of it, and it never got finished. I did put it out. There is a PDF kicking around of it. It was all traditionally drawn and traditionally coloured. It was like, hand painted inks, and it was called Duck to Satan. He was a duck. He was a doctor who wasn't doing too well and made a deal with the devil, and the devil screwed with him, and he turned into a half man, half duck thing. It was strange. It was fun, but strange, very strange.
That is strange.
And then I started working with Umbrella Guy, and then Mandy. Oh, and Wyatt Holiday. Wyatt Holiday hasn't been around for a while. Yeah. He's busy with other stuff, life takes over, all that kind of thing. We did a book together called
Comics.
Yeah. We did a book called Rocket Gal and the Mole Men of Mars, which was basically just cheesecake sci-fi.
It sounds fun.
She was pretty much a naked chick, but with hair that was always strategically placed and things like that. So, that's another book I'd love to redraw now, because I wasn't quite there then. Some of it's really awesome. Some of it's like, ooh, that angle. Ooh, that face.
Well, one thing I've learned from doing this and talking to artists is they're never satisfied with their work. I've never sat down and one guy goes, yeah, that was perfect, and I wouldn't touch a thing. They all go, that panel over here I'd like to fix. So sooner or later.
To be honest, the only books I wouldn't change. I wouldn't change the Jack the Ripper ones at all. I think I think I did okay with those.
You had a comic called Stardust?
Stardust was NASA's first book.
Oh, okay.
In fact, I hate to say it, I've got a sneaking suspicion NASA was the first person under the Comicsgate banner to actually get a book into people's hands.
Oh.
There's one point. I'm not sure. It's a toss-up between either that or it might have been Jawbreakers. But I think NASA just beat them, maybe. I might be wrong and I might get shouted at for that, but it's a close one.
Yeah, I remember Richard T. Meyer. I don't know what happened, but just when I quit Marvel in 2015, something happened on YouTube that recommended his video. I think by his third video, I was hooked, and I was one of his insiders, sending him. I was the electrician for Marvel in 2012 and 13. So I was telling him about all the stuff that I was hearing, So if you see some of his early videos, he's like, yeah, one of my insiders is the electrician for Marvel Comics, and he was telling, I got a record that I was in CG. I was old school CG before you.
There you go, dude. There you go. Yeah, I didn't. I mean, I was kind of doing little bits and pieces here and there. I didn't really get on the CG scene until I think around about the same time as Malin jumped in. But obviously, I'm nobody. Well, OG.
I think you're about to explode because, geez, the Swamp Thing image that I used for this is outstanding. And that Dragon Lady, oh my God, your art is like you leveled up. You play a video game, it's this little elf.
Yeah. It comes from like you say, it's
Andy must be a scary boss. That's all I got to say.
well, no, I've got to compete with, or not compete with, or try and keep up with. I've got to keep up with like Dale Keown, Ethan, people.
Yeah,
Shane Davis.
Yeah.
I mean, Shane's stuff was cool before, but the stuff he's doing now is just like, on another level. Oh, I'm mailing. I suppose I better mention mailing, otherwise I'll get moaned at. But yeah, it's that, and I'm kind of, where is it? Oh, it's up there behind me. This. Oh.
Say what you want about Comicscape, but you cannot say anything bad about the art. Oh yeah, I got
this.
that.
This is my Bible. I've got another copy of this that is just thumbed through to death, and every time I look through it, I notice new things. So it's studying people like Wrightson and Rosetta, and if you're going to try and be good and aim big, you've got to look at the big guys, look at the legends. And
Rosetta's one of those guys that, like, again, I keep bringing up that I'm a construction worker. Like when I mentioned comics, guys who aren't even into comics, they'll talk about Frank Frazetta.
Oh God, yeah.
Guys, I don't know if you youngins know, but back in the 70s, everybody had a Frazetta poster. Everybody.
Dude.
Especially that one guy that always had the good weed. You go to his house and he would have Frazetta posters all over the house. And even if they didn't know the name Frazetta, they knew his artwork. Frazetta was.
Yeah.
I went to my union hall once. I had a problem with somebody, and I'm talking to one of the bigwigs, and they're pretty much going to dismiss me. You know what I mean? Like, you're wrong. Blah, 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 blah. And for some reason, I don't know how it happened, but somebody goes, "Oh yeah, John's also a Frazetta fan," like in passing, and he's like, "Oh." Next thing you know, we're talking about Frazetta, we're talking about movies, we're talking about this. Oh yeah, all my problems went away. Thank you, Frank Frazetta.
Yeah, damn straight. Yeah, I mean, even back in the day when we were sort of like, in our early teens, we used to we'd all have a certain comic that we'd pick up, and then we'd all go around to someone's house, and we'd just sit and read them, and then swap, share them around. So we'd be reading like, over here it wasn't really Marvel and DC much. Some DC stuff, but it was like the Turtles, Tank Girl, Watchmen, things like that. The day someone brought Mouse, it was like the most depressing day. Bunch of teenage kids and like, what the hell? This is the most depressing book ever. Good, but depressing.
Yeah, it's a work of art. I'm glad it was made, but I don't think I'm going to be. Yeah.
But we'd all like drool over Frazetta stuff always.
Yeah. So you mentioned 2000 AD before. That's like the ultimate British comic. I've been trying to break into that's. I have like reprints of it. I have like the D.R. and Quinch's Guide to Life and stories and things like that. And some time travel anthologies, but I want to get actual issues of 2000 AD. It's a blatant hole in my collection.
Oh yeah, I've got many, and I kind of stopped collecting them for a while, and then a friend, it was a drummer in the band actually, he did the despicable thing of getting married, and they moved into a house, and it's like he couldn't, he wasn't allowed to take everything.
I knew.
So I got the biggest, a huge crate of 2000 ADs. So all the stuff I kind of missed, it kind of went from where I'd stopped collecting, it overlapped and like brought me up to. I was like, fantastic, brought me up to date, fantastic stuff. Yeah, it was. I loved it because it's it's an anthology book. Every week it's like just different stories, so much different styles of artwork,
and amazing
different kinds of stories.
Many legends came out of that.
Yeah.
So many big, important creators got their start. I can't even talk anymore. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's funny because when I was getting married, I got married when I was 38, and I already had this huge comic book collection, and my friends were like, "There goes the comics," And lo and behold, I got a big room behind me full of comics, and my wife defends me when anybody's just like, "Oh, yeah, John's reading comic books," and she's like, "Yeah, well, your husband's at a bar right now. Who's happier?"
Exactly. That's a point I always make. When people mock nerds, it's like, well, would you rather they were out blind drunk every night? And
And then my wife goes, "You know what John's collection's worth?" Like, she knows, because that's always been a fear of mine, that I get crushed at work by like a Monty Python 16-ton weight or something like that.
Yeah.
And then she's just like, "Get rid of all this stuff. Just get rid of this crazy stuff." I'm like, "No, honey, I got a database." Yeah.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. I mean, my collection of just the rights and stuff I've collected, because I went crazy collecting rights and bits and pieces. Just, yeah, that's worth a fortune on its own.
You have original rights and stuff?
I don't have original. No, I've got no original art. It kills me. But one day I'll learn it, because comics, you've got to love them, because they ain't gonna, unless you're super famous, they ain't gonna, ain't gonna pay the bills drawing comics.
Yeah, I tell my wife, if we win the lottery, there's two things I want to do. I want to get like a big ranch and have like rescue animals living on the ranch, and original artwork. I don't know which one would be more expensive, but I won't do it. I since I started making my own comic, I do have original artwork, but in my defense, it's for my comic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I paid for it to put on covers, and they sent me the original artwork. So I don't consider that collecting original artwork. That's business. That's a business expense. That's a business.
Yeah. Like I put all kinds of things on my business. I buy comics, and it's reference material, so I need it for work. So it's a business expense.
Yeah,
it's a good one, and the tax man's fine with it. I've had conversations with the tax man, the tax office, and they've been, no, that's fine, that counts.
Yep. Why do you have every issue of Playboy? Anatomy, I got to draw.
Dude, exactly. Exactly.
So
I mean, yeah.
So are you classically trained? Are you a self-taught guy? Did you take lessons?
I did. When I was at school as a kid, my art teacher told me I'd never make it as an artist, as a career. I ignored him and went to art school, which was kind of, I mean, some of it was useful. I mean, learning techniques and how to use, the technical side of it. But aside from that, was it worth it?
Artist, I think that either you have the gift for it or you don't. And like art school will only hone what you are naturally born with. I think if I was to pick up a guitar and spend 20 years learning guitar, I'd be proficient, but I'll never be a Jimi Hendrix. There was Jimi Hendrix.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Bernie Wrightson was born with something.
Yeah, definitely.
So I mean, I think I'd learn some technical stuff, but I'd never be a good artist.
Schooling will only take you so far. There's got to be something else there. And so I did all that. I went to university, got a degree, and all that crap. And then, but while I was there, I kind of, because you've got to get a part-time job to be able to afford to be a student, or back then you did anyway. So I started working in bars and then in restaurants, and trained to be a chef in the end, and I did that for years. And then, God, about 12 years ago now, I thought, screw this, let's try the art one last time. Let's, last ditch attempt at the art. So I quit my job, just quit cold, and just, right, you're an artist now.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, there was some winters where it was, can I afford the heat or the food, or which? Pick one, But it's going well now. It's going okay. There's been downs, but the ups are coming more frequently.
Everybody glamorizes being a chef, but that is a hard job.
The hours are, I mean, to be honest, I work more hours now than I've ever worked in my life. But it's doing stuff I love. Being a chef, getting up to do breakfast shifts, you're up at sort of like 3 a.m. and then you work through for half the day, and then you go home and get an hour's sleep, and then you're back there again. And
It was I was a part owner of a pizzeria for 3 years. It was like, I'm not even joking, like 12-hour days standing next to a pizza oven, and then when that went under, I just, that's it. I'm going to school. So I went to college, and what did I do? I cooked. I worked, I was cooking in restaurants, and
yeah,
one thing I learned, it was fun that you got to meet people. There was always hot waitresses in these restaurants and bars that I was cooking in. A lot of good
mm-hmm.
friends and stories and stuff. But it was no way to live your life because I was going to bed at 6 o'clock in the morning. You know what I mean? Like staying up all night. There was everybody was doing coke and stuff. I never did that because I knew once I got hooked.
Yeah, that's really common with chefs in the catering industry, like cocaine and things like that.
Yeah,
very rife, very.
Yeah, like a lot of and then it there were a lot of fun people, and I'm glad I did it while I was young. We'll leave it at that. But
yeah.
And then it was funny because I graduated, became a school teacher, and then I hated that. Oh my God, did I hate that?
What was the worst part about it? What did you hate the most?
I like kids. You don't become a school teacher if you hate kids. But it was just the administration, because the politically. So I'm talking. This was like 2001. The politically correct of the American school system was killing me. So I got out in 2005. I only lasted. I was 4 years in New Mexico, and 4 years in New York, and then I became a construction worker. And even though the work is grueling and hard, I come home, I'm in a good mood. I'm not the guys we're all busting on each other and laughing and joking and calling each other names, ribbing each. We just got a new guy came in, Shandy, and he's just laughing. And just today we were like, oh my God, the jokes that we would be telling. If an outsider heard it, they think we hate each other. You know what I mean? And it's just fun. And then you're carrying heavy stuff, and sometimes it's dangerous, but it's kind of exciting. But I never come home going like, I hate my life, I hate my job. I come home tired, but it's like a good, honest, and the pay ain't bad. I ain't complaining about the pay. But when I was a teacher, true story, it was a snowy day, and I was driving to work in my car, and I'm just sitting there going, you know what? All I have to do is just jerk this wheel, and I'd spin out, and maybe if I'm lucky, I'll be in traction and miss the rest of the year. and I'm not even joking. I was seriously planning a life-threatening, but debilitating, but non-serious, life-threatening accident. And when I got to work, luckily the school was canceled. The school was closed, and I just drove back going, I was seriously thinking of driving into a telephone pole.
Wow.
I was like, I got to quit. So I just it took me a year to leave, but I admire what you did. You weren't happy as a chef. You said, I'm going to be a comic book artist, all my life. That was my dream job, to be a comic book writer. I wanted to write the Fantastic Four my whole life. And the more I got older and realized Marvel is drifting away from me, I started to get depressed, I knew I was never going to do it, but there was always that 1 out of a billion chance that it would happen. You know what I mean? And now,
I mean, I love it so much that when I'm not working on the books, the things I'm supposed to be working on, I'm still drawing, and I've probably got 3 or 4 half-finished comics just from, if I'm not drawing Super Dad or Jack the Ripper or whatever, I'm working on my own stuff as well. Honing those writing skills at the same time. Mandy will kill me for that.
That was going to be a question. Are you working on your own IP, and are you writing your own IPs?
Well, I'm quite happy with, because we're kind of 50-50-ish on it. Well, it balances out that way with Mandy. So, Jack the Ripper was kind of my thing, and then Super Dad's hers, and Walk the Wizard. It kind of balances out, and I love doing it anyway. I mean, Super Dad, it's superheroes and zombies and horror and death and carnage. I love that
stuff.
Yeah, and then Jack the Ripper was just like fantastic to work on. I did have to dial it back a bit because, some of it could have got pretty gory. I think the furthest I went was there was a page with when Jack's captured a vampire, one of the vampire chicks, and basically got her all, on the autopsy table, all splayed open, and there's guts, and he's having a conversation with her while the guts are hanging out. That could have gone really dark and really grim, but I dialed it back. I reined it in.
I'm not trying to derail, but I always like to know what kind of music. Oh, you missed it. The first whole 20 minutes, we talked about music. We talked about punk rock and Motorhead and the Buzzcocks and just great stuff. Yeah. I could talk about music with everybody. Everybody says they like all types of music, and then you find out that you just like, nothing wrong with just classic rock, but there's more to life than.
I mean, I do like. I say I like all types of music. I'm not too. Never been like mainstream pop. Never. No. Maybe the odd tune might have a little hook in there that gets me, and I find myself singing it. But it's punk. It's the darker side of music.
Yeah, it is. When I lived in New Mexico, my friends got me into country, and I never liked country music, but then they were like, nah, not this pop country. There's like a whole underground punk country scene of other, and it was awesome. You know what I mean? I don't hear too much here in New York, but yeah.
Yeah, I used to.
We were talking about the Buzzcocks. You missed it, Courtney.
Mm-hmm. I used to make my own cigar box guitars. That was fun. Did that for a while. Made a few, sold a couple. And they sound amazing. It just sounds like someone strangling a cat through an amplifier. Brilliant.
Man, Courtney's mentioning some good band. We talked about
the Damned. Yeah, we talked about the Damned. I saw the original lineup of the Damned, and they were supported by the support act for the Damned was the Ramones.
Wow,
that was a gig. That was a good gig.
I met the Ramones, talked to them, hung out with them, but I never saw them play because the Ramones are a local band, and there's always like, the Ramones are playing tonight. Oh, the Damned are in town. The Ramones are playing. Oh, GBH is in town. So I always, and then they all started dying. I was like, I can't believe I never saw the Ramones.
GBH, wow.
Yeah, I'm a big GBH fan.
Good
Matter
stuff.
of fact, my friend Jimmy, the one I was talking about earlier, who with the Lemmy story and then whatever, we'll go like 5 years where we don't talk, and then one day I just called him up. He picks up the phone. John, I go, listen to more GBH, and then hung up. And then he said, like 2 years later, he called me back. He goes, yeah, that was the right call. And then he hung up.
Yeah.
Ladies, that's the way guys talk to each other. We don't need to talk every day. We're still.
It is. We're very straight and to the point. We don't gossip. We don't gossip and chat away about. Classic Rick Astley, Wooly. Yeah, if you're into horror comics, check out Wooly's stuff. Yeah, very good, very good. I literally buy everything he does. Yeah, fantastic.
What's the name of your comic?
What have you got, Wooly? You've got there's Ailsa Dark. There's dude. I think I got some. I'll see how much I love Wooly's stuff. Hang on, make sure I'm not showing off pages from Super Dad.
I don't know anything.
Original art from Wooly.
Oh, that's artwork. That looks awesome.
Look at the skulls, man. It's fantastic. This came the other day. Yeah.
Did you put that on Twitter? I think I've seen that before.
Yeah. When it arrived the other day, put it.
Oh, Terrier Comics. I gotta look. So I gotta look at what was the? Now I forgot the name. Head Cats. I gotta look at the Head Cats. Terrier Comics.
Yeah, I'll send you the link to Wooly's Twitter.
Courtney's just going down like the list of like
Anti-Nowhere League, the Addicts. Yeah. The Anti-Nowhere League kind of fell out of favour a bit because they got a little bit racist and sexist and horrible at one point. Well, not sexist, but it was.
Well,
Anti-Nowhere League. Yeah.
Do you ever, Courtney, or did you remember Reagan Youth? I don't know why, but I just pulled that album out and I was listening to Reagan Youth over and over again. I just have to laugh at Reagan Youth, like Reagan was that horrible. We were talking about this with my punk rock friends that you know, during the 80s, the right was in charge, the horrible right, but we had such great music, great movies, great comic books. Now the left is in charge. Where's all the great art? The left wingers are in charge. We got horrible Star Wars. We got horrible comics.
Yeah.
Come on,
who'd have thought the left would have become the most authoritarian?
Right, that's what Johnny Rollins said.
Everything's topsy turvy. I swear it was that goddamn hadron collider when they did that test and spinning the particles, and that's it. They wrecked the universe. There's another timeline somewhere where everything's still normal.
Yeah, I know. We got. It's funny. What was that? 2012. They fired up or the end of that Aztec calendar that everybody's talking about.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was like 2014. I was doing video game stuff. I think that was my first encounter with the social justice hate mob. Yeah, I worked on a game that was a fighting game, well known for its beautiful ladies and bouncy parts, and I just shared some on Facebook. I think it was Facebook. I just like Luke, and it was like a half-naked woman, and I just got mobbed. It's like, okay, this is the way the world's going. Fantastic.
I'm a big proponent of art to adversary. I think like George Lucas was having lots of troubles making the first Star Wars film, and there's nobody on the planet that's going to be like, Star Wars wasn't a great movie. That's one thing we can all agree. The original Star Wars movie was fun. It was excellent. It was everything we wanted, and because he had to fight to get that done, he fought with everybody. Stan Lee. Comic books went through this censorship period, so Stan Lee was butting heads with them and working around this and trying to, get some creative work done without really getting a red line on. So it forced him to be creative. I had in issue 3 of my comic, I have a superhero called the Raven that it was like a Batman type guy, and then my friends were like, you can't use that name. There's so many characters. I'm like, yeah, but this is different. So they've been fighting, and then I came up with another name, and then somebody else came up with that name before. So now I have a third concept that I'm not even going to mention and it's so much better.
Oh, dude.
So because of all that fighting, not literal fighting, but adversary, caused me to sharpen it, make it better. So I think in the 80s, because things did go a little crazy. We had the PMRC, which was Democrats by Al Gore and Tipper Gore. We forget the Democrats are the censorship party all the time. And we had the Reaganites, Just Say No, and all this right wing Christian stuff. I don't know. So there was adversary, and it forced anger and a real emotion. Now they're all in charge. It's no blowback. They could do whatever they want, so they just get indulgent. There's no craft. I really do think if Trump gets to be president and then say another Republican for 8 years, that'll be 12 years of Republicans. There's going to be some great movies, some great comics, because I think these people will focus on something. Because I do think creativity is kind of a left-wing brain thing for the most part, stereotypically. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm crazy. But I want Trump to be president for many reasons. One of them is maybe comic books will be good again. They can't be worse.
Who knows? Who knows? Yeah. Well, no, they can't.
Yeah.
Well, mainstream comic books. Let's yeah.
Mainstream. Yeah. Mainstream.
The stuff we're doing is awesome.
Yeah, I could reach over here and pull off a stack of Comicsgate comics. Now interior comics. Brian Bow of Wolf and Betsy got me into horror comics, and now it's like a Pandora's box is being opened.
Yeah, horror comics are that's my jam. And I don't know, could I do a straight up superhero book? I think I'd kind of get bored. Someone would have to get the head blown off at some point.
Did you read Alan Moore's Miracle Man or Marvel Man? Yeah, I could see you doing a comic like that.
I'm a huge fan of The Darkness. The Darkness was I loved that book. So you can and so is Mandy as well, which is you can kind of see where Super Dead's coming from. So Darkness and the Spawn and stuff like that. and then like we're both fans of like Garth Ennis, so
I love
there's bits of the boys and stuff in there, and you can't get away from your influences. You never can, and it's just like I love that stuff. I want to draw that stuff, you know. So I'm always torn between the extreme just craziness of things like the boys, and then my love of the Universal monsters. You know, it's like, can I fit the two together? Let's see with Jack the Ripper.
Yeah,
Which there is more coming. There is more Jack the Ripper.
Yeah. Oh, well, maybe when I'm ready to do my vampire story, I'll talk to you about your page rates. I think it would be right. Can you draw horses?
Can I draw horses? Can I draw horses? Yes.
Yeah,
I spent so long drawing horses, so long just practicing. When I was in the first Jack the Ripper book, I've got sheets and I've still got them somewhere.
Right. What a dumb question. Yeah, this horse is a Jack the Ripper. Yeah, I forgot.
Yeah, just stacks and stacks of, and the first page is like they kind of look like horses, maybe a little bit of a dog. I don't know. And by the end of it, it's just like these majestic horses and really wonderful. And then you try, because you're just sketching stuff roughly, and then you try and translating those. Cause with your sketches, you've got energy and there's life to it, and then the Jack the Ripper art, which kind of really detailed, and so it's like, can I get that energy into something that's really detailed? It's hard to do, which is why I started really looking at Frazetta, and because he did it.
I know, being a Brit out there, is Jack the Ripper, because it's super popular in America. Is it still popular in England?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think it is everywhere. It was actually trending on Twitter the other day, which was like excellent. I get to do a tweet about our books.
Yeah. I don't know what it is, but I'm still kind of fascinated. Did you read From Hell, the Alan Moore?
Yeah.
Generally, it's scary. There it is.
No, that's the ultimate compendium of Jack the Ripper. It's got literally everything. Everything's in there. That's my Bible.
From Hell book is scary. It actually a comic book that's scary. 2 books actually scared. I'll take it back. 3 books. Preacher by Garth Ennis.
Preacher, fantastic. Yeah.
There's a couple of scenes in that scared me. And Jack the Ripper. From Hell.
From Hell. Yeah.
And
I mean, I'm also a big fan of. Did you ever read any of the stuff like Creepy magazine?
I'm collecting it right now. I'm trying to pull it out without knocking everything.
Well, they right now they are putting out the collected editions again now.
Yeah, I'm getting the originals. Creepy.
Yeah. Creepy number 62. Creepy number 62 is the one to have.
Yeah, that's the Jennifer's Body, or Jennifer.
Is that the one? Is that? I think 62. I'm going to look a fool now because it's probably not 62. Wrightson's Black Cat. Is that what? Which one's that?
10. Number 10.
Yeah. Number 6. I think number 62's got Wrightson drawing the Black Cat, and it's. I think. I'd Google it, but I can't. No, I'm not. Look at that.
63. This is Wrightson and Brian Jones doing that story Jennifer that everybody.
Right. I need to Google it now.
So I had to jump ahead because I buy comics in numerical order. So, but my nephew came up to me. My nephew was like, "Uncle John, do you have a creepy 63 with Brady Wrightson?" And
there you go. Right. Sorry, just to interrupt. It was number 62. Definitely number 62. Wrightson did the Black Cat, and there's one page in it where it's just, you know what he was like with his light and shadow, and there's just one picture of the cat and this room behind it. It's just fantastic. It's as good as the Frankenstein stuff.
Yeah.
Sorry, completely derailed that there.
You didn't derail anything. We have a fun conversation about comic books. There is no derailing.
No, this is true. They're putting Creepy out again at the moment. They're collecting it all, and I don't know if it's. Yeah, Dark Horse. Yeah.
It's putting out. Yeah, but I'm a lunatic. I got to get the originals. I got the expensive ones out, and now they're pretty reasonable.
And then there's a resurgence of it because they're doing Tales from the Crypt again, aren't they? That started up again. I think they're on issue. I don't know what now. But yeah, that's been going for a year or so, or maybe a couple of years. Restarted it. EC Comics coming back, it's good, which is excellent. Big resurgence. I like to, say that it's me on all these live streams for the last, God knows, like 5-6 years, talking about EC Comics and all that stuff. It's seeped out there. It's me. I did it.
When you were a kid, did you have access to EC Comics? Did they make it to England?
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. And we used to get. There was a magazine called Hammer Horror Magazine. Like the Hammer movies.
Yeah.
So you get it'd be articles about different movies because there was no internet back then, obviously. So this is how you found out, and there'd be like little pictures of some of the really gory stuff and whatever. But you'd also have dotted throughout comic stories. So you get Dracula and the Curse of the Werewolf and all these movies, but like comic adaptations. So we had those as well. They were fantastic. I've still got a bunch of them kicking around, hidden away, never to see the light of day because they'll probably just disintegrate.
I grew up watching the Hammer movies with my dad, but this was regular broadcast television. So I didn't realize that they were edited, so.
Yeah.
And then from Brian Bow, he kept talking about the Hammer film. So I'm like, all right, I got Netflix now. I'm going to watch some of these movies he recommended. I was like, oh my God, they're got more boobs and gore than I ever imagined. Oh my!
That stuff never made it onto the TV.
Yeah, I don't remember. This was after church with my dad watching Christopher Lee as Dracula or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like the Brides of Dracula and the Vampire Lovers and all those, they were all edited, really cut down. Movies, suddenly realizing that Hammer movies weren't 60 minutes long.
Yeah, so I'm a fan again. I love them. As hokey as it is, Christopher Lee, doing the fingers and and a lot of the old black and white stuff from the 30s, they were kind of racy. I watched an unedited Creature from the Black Lagoon, and there's like an extended scene of the main actress swimming around fully naked. And, I mean, you could kind of see it, but
yeah.
expect that from the 30s. I guess we got more modest as we went along, and then nowadays anything goes.
Well, yeah. Although I don't know if they had their way, it'd be going the opposite way again. Everyone would be wearing. I'm not going to get into it. I'm not going to get into it because I'll get mad.
Yeah. Well, I got to go because I have an 8:30 show at Josh Howard. So I got to refill the coffee cup, eat another ice cream sandwich to get myself some energy for the next show. So anything you want to say? Anything I forgot to bring up? Let's bring up stuff. This way you could get you and these collaborations.
Exactly. Go to stuntmancomics.com and there's links to everything there, and you can buy back issues, and we've got T-shirts and stuff, we've got merch, all kinds of things going on there. And
when I ordered her comics, they showed up in 3 days. I got the number one package of everything, and I'm trying to find to. You have a current campaign right now.
We do, yeah. I dropped the link in the private chat.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Did. You got it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Super Dead issue 2, which is, well, I mean, you can see from the campaign, I'm pushing the boundaries of what I can do. I'm trying to get there.
Like I said, there's a couple of artists that I've just been seeing getting better and better and better. For Dan Panosian, I guess we can all agree.
Yeah.
So much better. And I have some of his earlier stuff for the Villains Vigilantes where you never thought he would be a professional, much less a living legend. And you're always getting better and better. Like, again, when I saw that woman riding the dragon, I was like, oh my God, and then it just, you showed your progress on it, and then you colored it.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
I think I'm working on another one at the moment. Only just started, but it's, kind of dragony sea serpent and a naked bum.
Oh no, not nudity. Wrong.
But that's going to be,
Don't you know if we see naked girls, we'll become depraved?
Exactly. Hopefully.
Well,
let's all be depraved.
But thanks a lot, man. This is a blast. Come back anytime you want. I enjoyed talking. And we barely
Absolutely, man.
I had more questions we didn't get to, but I don't care. This was fun.
I could talk for hours.
Yeah, me
about
too.
comics and horror and music and all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
When Kelsey was on yesterday, we were talking about old Marvel Secret War, and before we went live, I was just like, this is like what I would want to do as a kid, like talk about comics. And then Kelsey goes, "You want to play comics?" I was like, "Let's play comics." And we went live, and we, just for 2 hours talking about comics. I could do it every night. I'm not tired of it yet. So
Anytime, man. Anytime. Just
this is a
invite me
pleasure.
back anytime.
We talked about Motorhead comics. It was fun. We even talked about restaurants. It was a great conversation. Thanks a lot, man. And thanks a lot, everybody.
No problem.
I just have to say, in 15 minutes, I'm going to be live with RJ in the Fourth Age with Josh Howard of Dead at 17, a horror comic. He's got a live camera going right now. Thanks a lot, everybody. Bye-bye. I love these new names. And somebody just bought my comic book while we were live. Thanks, Pete.
Fantastic.
You're getting the credit for that one. Thank you.